So settling the whole spine down along the floor. Let the arms soften to your sides. Just gently planting the feet. And beginning that body map, that reading of the body, seeing what's going on inside today, of any sensations in the physical body. Anywhere that feels or has been feeling a little bit stiff, tight, sore, loose. Just being aware. Take that a little bit further into the breath. Not trying to change anything, not trying to amend the pattern of the breath. Just seeing how that gentle breath is moving. Is it more on one side of the nostrils than the other? If one side feel a bit blocked, quite often it does. In yoga philosophy, they talk about there being cycles of the sides of the breath. And just seeing the feelings, the thoughts, the stories that float in and out of the mind. Notice if there's one particular story each time you lie down to start your yoga practice, or not, if there's just one that's been around all week. Not trying to change it, not trying to push it away, just noticing. Effectively becoming the kind of watcher of the thoughts. Let the shoulders soften. And gently find a pattern, the outline of the feet on the floor. So finding the whole foot on the floor. If the pad of the big toe is slightly lifted up, maybe it feels like the hips are slightly rotating outwards. Maybe see if you can draw both feet firmly down so the inside edges of the feet have as much of an imprint on the floor as the outside edges. Good. And then as you push gently down towards the floor, feel a little tilting with the lower back, the pelvis, and release it down again. Let the feet soften. And then gently imprint the feet down on the floor again. Feel that lower back, just lift just a fraction more. And then release it. So little tiny pulses. We've done it before. Gently pushing, gently rising. Let the shoulders stay soft and stable and releasing. And again, gentle pushing, lengthening through the knees, thighs, pelvis. So you start to find this patterning, this mapping of the action of the gentle push up through the body into the spine, perhaps lifting now up towards the waistline and release it down. So it's an incremental lift up to your bridge pose. So perhaps up towards the mid rib cage and soften and down. And a little bit higher, perhaps bottom of the shoulder blades. Perhaps the pelvis starts to open a little bit, but keep that imprint of the feet down along the floor. And then up into your bridge pose. We're not going to stay here though. We're just opening and softening, rolling, lengthening down. Let's take the arms with you next time. Inhale, pushing down on the feet, lifting and opening through the armpits. As you go into your bridge pose, fingertips go behind you. You've got a choice as to whether you bring them down with you as you go down or you leave them there as your pelvis goes down to the floor. So let's take a few rounds of that and start opening the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. You can play around with the arms. Sometimes bring them down, sometimes leave them up. Just seeing the difference in the body as you do it each time. Lengthening the knees away and drawing it down. And as you next time you lift up, just notice as you push, the knees are going out to the side. Maybe you can keep the knees straight out from the pelvis as you go. So lengthening the knees away from you rather than out to the sides and away. And soften. And draw the pelvis down to the floor. Pick the feet up, bring the knees into the chest, and let's take some gentle circles. So using the hands to move the knees around. And so you're moving the lower back as you take those knees around in a circle one way, and then back around in a circle, the other way. Good. And bring it back to center. Good. Let's pop the left leg down on the floor. Keep the right knee in. Good. And we're just going to take that right knee around in a circle so that the hip is moving in that hip socket. So using the hand rather than making the leg do all the work. Just encouraging a few circles around to the side. Softening through the belly, breathing down. Lovely, bring it back to center and take it just gently around the other way. So a little bit more awkward, bringing it round inside and around and out. And notice how that changes, how the pattern changes as you do that. And then bring that back to center. Good, take the left hand on top of that right knee. Right hand can come down to right hip. We're not going to take it all the way across. We're just going to allow that knee, sorry, we're going to stretch the left leg out here. We're just going to take the right leg across and drop the right shoulder. Don't take it, we're not turning the whole body, just a little bit of stretch across the back of that right hip. Maybe turn the head over to the right side. So left hand is on top of right knee, heading over to the left side. Head is turning to the right, not falling over, just a little bit of something through that right side. And let's bring that back to center. And pop the right foot down, bring the left knee in. And circles again, going out to the side and in, using the left hand to encourage the movement. All the way around. Just noticing what's going on in that hip socket and then back around the other way. So slightly more awkward coming in, or maybe not, maybe it's different on both sides. So just being aware of that. Does one side have a little bit more rotation in it, or is there a little bit more clicking going on? Just being aware. Good, and gently bring that back to center. Straighten out the right leg. Right hand on top of left knee, left hand can come out to the side. So we don't want to tuck or anything. We're not kind of forcing the knee over. It's staying up in the sky, but just heading away from you. And you can turn the head across. We don't want to do a massive rotation or twist right now. Just a little bit of something in the back of that left hip. Be aware of what's going on. Breathing gently there. Inhaling and exhaling. Soften the belly. And lovely, bring that back to center, noticing the differences side to side if one side felt a little bit more tight than the other. So bend both knees. Give the hips a little bit of a roll about, a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to roll onto the right or left side, whichever is easier for you. Take the hands to the floor so the face is towards the floor. Neck and head are soft. Gently push yourself up onto all fours and bring yourself onto your mat. And start moving around with the spine. A little bit of movement one way, circles back the other way. Pelvis can get involved, little circles as well. And then also the head and neck. Good. Lovely. Moving around, let's take the hips back to heels, lengthen the arms out, open the armpits, forehead moves towards the floor. Extended child's pose, Utthita Balasana, uncurl, so a little rounded flexion in the spine as you pick yourself back up onto all fours. And open into your cow pose, so the chest opens and tailbone heads away. It doesn't have to be a huge movement. Curl the spine, bring the flexion back, cat, sit the hips back to heels. Open out, lengthen the shoulders, arms, head and forehead heads towards the floor. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make it. Curl the spine. Open the chest, hips and chest rise. Last round, let's curl the spine again, sit the hips back to heels, and take a pause in your extended child's pose. Let's take the knees a little bit wider so that you're settling down. Now, if that's uncomfortable, if you've got any blankets or a block or a cushion and you want to put it under the forehead, Take it under the forehead. Good. Settle the breath again. Now let's really be aware of the breath in and out of the belly. Just noticing the movement of the belly. And then as you're there, let's take the awareness up to the rib cage and notice the movement of the breath in the rib cage. So can you find that gentle expansion and gentle sort of condensing back to the center on the exhale? Good. And then take that breath a little bit higher, kind of below the collarbones, but into the chest, and just notice the movement. Notice the difference in the movements, in the actions of the breath in the 3 different areas. But also notice perhaps how the 3 are very interlinked. Even though you can take your awareness to one of these areas, you can still expand for full breath, using that diaphragm as you inhale, gently feeling the action of the diaphragm just below the rib cage, gently lowering, and on the exhale, coming back into position under the rib cage. Okay, and from there, lift yourself up onto all fours. Okay, so from all fours, I'm sorry, I think my Wi-Fi is really bad today. Lifting the right knee, left hand, just hover them off the floor. So we're going to move to bird dog. I'm going to slide them out and away from you, keeping the pelvis, the hip bones facing towards the floor as you do. Let's take a breath there, inhale. Exhale there. And at the end of the exhale, draw it all the way back in. Now, noticing the shift across the other side, is there a lot of reorganization going on in the pelvis? Or can you keep it really quite steady as you lift the left knee and right hand, slide it away? Doesn't matter if you're on a different hand to me. We're doing both sides several times. Another breath there, inhale. Take your exhale. And at the end of the exhale, let's draw it in. And again, noticing if you can keep the pelvis quite nice and steady as you do that. And again, shifting the weight across, so being really aware of how that weight shifts across to hover the left hand, right knee and slide them away. Take another breath there, inhaling. Exhaling. And draw them back in. Last round. Right hand, left knee, and again, watch the shuffle. Maybe you're getting more in tune with that little shuffle of the pelvis and trying to see what you can do to keep the steadiness. Great. Another breath. Inhale. And exhale. And draw it all the way back in. Tuck the toes. Sit the hips back to the heels. Walk the hands back to the knees. Let the spine round. Roll yourself, if that's comfortable, over the toes so the heels start to work towards the floor. Now you can open the legs out a little bit wider if that's easier, or you can grab a blanket cushion to pop onto the heels if it's a little tricky. We're going to gently, being aware of those knees as you uncurl. Let the crown of the head cage stay towards the floor, lift the bottom up to the sky. And uncurl all the way up to standing. Yeah, I'm really stretching today. And uncurl all the way up. All the way up and open. Good. So coming to stand in your mat somewhere. Okay, good. Let the feet move around. Let's pick one knee up and come over onto the toes, and then pick the other. So we're just gently moving through the feet. Good. Lovely. And let's place the feet back down on the floor and inhale, rise the arms up to the sky. Good. So if you have a block or a cushion and you want to use one between the knees, feel free. We're going to sink down into your chair pose. Open through the armpits, lengthen the crown of the neck so the neck feels free. There's not lifting the shoulders up. Gently allow that lower back to slightly curl under the tailbone, slightly tucking under so we're not pushing the bottom away too much. Good. And we're going to fold the belly towards the thighs. Lift the hips and uncurl, straightening the legs, keeping a softness in the knees. Rise yourself all the way back up to standing. Good, and we're going to do that again. We're going to sink down into chair pose. Inhale here, lengthen the fingertips away from the bottom. And as you exhale, we're going to float all the way down. Bottom rises. Crown of the head drops and uncurl. So find that place as you uncurl where the pelvis gently comes forward so the chest just sort of opens and rises so we're not having to haul ourselves up with the lower back. Fingertips up to the sky once more. And sink last time down. Lengthen the chest away from the tailbone. Lovely. Fingertips as you inhale away. Find that space in the sides of the waist. And exhale. Let's fold it down. Bottom up to the sky. Crown of the head to the floor. Uttanasana, standing forward, fold, rise it up. So uncurl, let the pelvis come forward to open the chest. Lovely, let's take the arms out to the side. Good, let's do a little bit of shoulder work. Take the arms all the way out, stretch the fingertips away. Let's take the right arm over the top of the left. Twist the hands around and see the arms around, see if the hands will come towards each other. So I've still got my block between my knees. You don't have to have anything there. Or just above my knees. Lift the elbows, so Garudasana arms. Good, we're going to take a little fold over to the right hand side and bring it back to center and gentle fold to the left hand side. So keep the pelvis steady if you can and back to center. Good, we're going to uncurl the arms, catch hold of the elbows. Take the arms over the head if possible, opening the armpits, and again over to the right, back to center, and over to the left, and back to center. Okay, keeping the back of the right hand behind the back of the left arm, stretch the arms up. So you've got to push the hand back to the hands together, but the right wrist is behind the left. Good. Same thing, push the feet down as well. So it feels probably a little bit strong. Lift up, so just go as far as it feels comfortable. Try not to turn the chest towards the floor as you do this. Doesn't have to be a huge movement. All the way back up. Slide that right hand onto the left shoulder blade, right hand to, other way around. Right hand to left, left hand to right. Okay, so we're taking a little roll around with the upper thoracic. So slightly move the chest forward, but we're not hanging out from the waist. Be really careful you're not folding all the way forward and just hanging out of the waist. That's it. You've just got this little roll through the top, keeping yourself quite upright as you do it. If you feel comfortable opening the chest to the sky and taking it around, do so, keeping yourself lifted. That's it. And all the way back around. Back to center, and let's take it to the other side. So float the arms, float your wings out, give them a little flap. We'll shake off and we'll take the left arm over the top of the right. Palms as close together as they're going to get. Don't worry if they're not. Lift the elbows as high as you can, and we'll take that movement to the left hand side. We're going both sides. It doesn't matter if you go the other way, if you get lefts and rights or wrong. And the other way. So keeping the chest open and keeping the shoulder blades soft. So it's quite easy to kind of try and draw the shoulder blades into this. Let's just let them soften. Good. Undo the arms, hold on to the elbows, over the head, high as possible. Same thing. One side, center, the other side, and center. Good. Left wrist goes behind the right wrist, back to the hands together if possible. Gently push between the arms, one side, back to center, and then the other side. And back to center, and then hands together, right around the shoulder blades, sorry, and gently rolling. One way. And then the other. Good. And bring it all the way. Back around. And back up to standing. Good. You can release the block. Place it down on the floor. Float those arms. Make sure we roll them. Just going to do one more movement for the arms, shoulders. We're going to take the arms forward and keeping the chest forward. We're going to keep the thumb up to the sky, thumbs up. So the right arm is going to lift. Try and keep the chest facing forward if possible. Allow the right side of the chest to open. So it only comes as far as it feels comfortable doing so, shoulder height perhaps. And then pick it up, but try to keep that thumb on top as you turn. So everyone's turn point is at a different place. Take it slow. Try not to rush through this. Just really finding that rotation point and opening it out. Good. Let's take 3 on this side. And once more. Open it around. Good. Careful of any clunks and clicks. And bring them back to center. Good. Release that shoulder. Release the arm. So if you're okay to bring it out again, if it's a little tired, keep it down on the thigh. Left arm, same thing. Find a place on the wall in front of you, just to keep your gaze onto, so that you find yourself lifting up out of the pelvis, so the feet feel like they're firmly planted. We're only doing 3 of these, so we're taking them nice and slow, so that you really find that rotation and you find the little places that it's not so easy. So that we have to be aware of that and we can work within that range. Good. Let's bring it back to center. So the shoulders are feeling nice and warmed up and opened up and worked. So we know where there are any little tweaks. So we know what care we need to take of ourselves. Bringing yourself back on the mat. Give them a roll around. Let's take the arms up to the sky. Soften the knees slightly and fold or roll, or however you like to come down to the floor. You can float the hands down the midline. If you're used to floating them out to the side, do so. Sometimes it's quite nice just to slide them down the midline. Fingertips either to the floor or to the knees. Whatever you do, keep those knees nice and soft. We're going to slide into your half forward bend. So your Ardha Uttanasana, Ardha meaning half. And fold it all the way down to the floor, crown of the head down to the floor, or on its way down. So let's take that right leg back and pop the right knee on the floor. Let's open the heart. Just open the heart. Fingertips stay down. Lift and open. Widen the collarbones. Good, lovely. We're going to plant that right hand. Take the left arm forward. Gentle rotation, seeing what you can do to keep that left hip coming in. Notice if there wants to be a tendency to poke it out. Just notice. Slide the hand forward and step yourself back to your plank. And from your plank, you're coming down on your knees or chaturanga if that's where you're working. Chest is coming down. Roll the shoulders down and find your cobra. Doesn't have to be a big cobra. We're going to stretch the arms out in front of you. So from your cobra, slide the chest back down and slide the hands out in a big V in front of you and lift and open. Good. So the head and neck stays relaxed. We're not craning or dropping the head back of the head onto the back. We're keeping it long and open, and we're going to gently just move through the shoulders. I know the arms are in a different place. If you want to take them out to the sides and take that movement, do so. Let's see how it feels to take it with the hands out in front this time, in a different place. So just a little movement through shoulders, through chest, upper back, head and neck. Just a little wiggle around. Good. And bring that back to center. Hands back under shoulders, tuck those toes. Push back onto knees, take the bottom back to the heels in order to find your first downward facing dog. Now, if you know downward facing dog isn't for you today, please take your half down dog. There is no need to push your way into it if you've had a shoulder injury or it's not feeling too strong today. Okay, move a little bit around side to side. So let the right knee come to the left side and then the left knee come to the right side. Notice how that plays up the sides of the body. Head and neck are soft. Good. Take the right knee into the chest and then lift it up and out behind you. Up to the sky. Drop the left heel towards the floor where possible. Bring that right knee forward. See if you can bring the weight forward and step that right foot up to the hands and drop the back knee. Up on the fingertips. Widen the collarbones. Lengthen. Left hand down, right arm forward. Open to the right side. So draw that right hip gently towards the left. Notice if it's trying to do a bit of poking out to the side. Right hand comes all the way down. Good. We're going to just gently find some runner's lunge in this, some Ardha Hanumanasana. So let the hips come slightly back and then let the hips come slightly forward. Good. Just play around with that. And if you feel after a few forward and backs, you need to take a little bit of a pause there. Take a bit of a pause there. Yeah, we'll just take a couple of those. A little bit forward, a little bit back. I know some people prefer to sit. They get more out of it if they sit the heel all the way back. But there's no need to do that. Unless that works. Okay, bring it all the way forward. Up onto that right foot. Slide the left foot in and uncurl. Up to standing. Inhale. Tadasana. Open the arms, open the chest. I always think this is Tadasana, as in we're here. Hands back down to the heart. I don't think it is that. Okay, let's take the hands back up to the sky. Open the heart, lift it up, and slide the hands back down the midline. Or float them out to the side. Curl yourself down or lengthen if that's feeling better. Half rise, lift, open the collarbones, widen through the shoulders as you lift. Lengthen the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Fold yourself down and take the left leg back. Good, drop that left knee to the floor. And this time we're going to take the hands onto the right thigh. Roll the shoulders down and away. And this time we're going to lift the arms up to the sky for Anjaneyasana. Pick the fingers up to the sky and lift the hips slightly. Good. Lovely. And you bring yourself down. You're right, Heather. Having a few problems. Okay. Good. Hands all the way back down. Good. Wiggle the shoulders a little bit there. Make sure everything feels okay. And let's take the right leg back. Plank pose. Drop the knees. Drop the chest. Find your cobra. Good. And lower it down. So spread the arms in front of you again. Lift into seal pose. Lift up and open. Good. And just a little movement through shoulders, chest, upper back, neck, head. Make sure everything feels. You can turn the head one way. Turn the head the other way. Move the hands if that feels better. Just squidge it around a bit between the shoulder blade and the chest. Bring it back to center. Slide the hands back under the shoulders. Pick yourself up onto your knees, bottom back to heels. Decide if you're heading back to Ardha Mukha Svanasana, down dog, or to the half down dog. Make that decision and come back to a steady place. So you want your right foot to head towards the midline as you draw that left knee in and then take it up and out behind you. Lovely. Drop the right heel as close as it can to the floor and then bring that left knee back into the chest. Let's try and get it up to the hand. If it doesn't make it, Pop it down to the floor and pick it up and bring it forward. Okay, drop the right knee down to the floor. This time left, hands are coming up onto left thigh. Anjaneyasana on this side. Open the arms. Widen through chest. If it's a bit much for the arms, let's take the hands into cactus. So you'd have your arms, elbows bent out to the sides. Lift the heart. Working with that Anahata chakra up at the heart. Great. Let's take the hands down to the floor. Okay, so we'll take movement through the hips, through that left hamstring. Good. A little bit of forward and back. Great. Okay. Pause where you need to. And then tuck the toe under. Weight transfers onto that left leg and bring the right knee forward. Uncurl. All the way up to standing. Open the arms, lift the heart, and bring the hands to prayer. Good. So we're going to find a balance. Shake out the wrists if you need. We're going to find a balance. We're going to take a moving balance. So bring the weight onto the right leg. And just, if you know that there's a bit of transference of weight, keep the toes quite connected to the floor. There's no need to take it quite so high or fast. Gentle rotation of the hip out to the side and bring it back to center. And then let's take that left leg back and behind. So if I turn. Good. And bring it back. And once more, just back and forward. And then gently pick it up. It doesn't matter how high it goes. It can be nice and low if that works better. Ooh, take your rotation of that hip in the socket. So you take it gently round to the side. I'm going to turn back to the front just to show you what I'm doing. Take that left leg over behind the standing leg. Good. And that same arm, so my left arm is going up and over to the right side. Good. And bring yourself back. Those of you who want to try and challenge yourself a bit further, find your balance and take that left knee out to the side again, all the way back to the front. And take it down. Let's move straight to the other side. So pick up that right knee. Little opening at the front there. Pick it up. So just a few, so you can drag the toes along the floor if that feels better. If you'd rather do that, then hold on to a chair, or make sure your left foot, just see if it's kind of gripping, or if you can stretch it out. You know, you can play between the two, the kind of gripping and supporting the arch, or stretching the whole foot out. So just a couple of times, nice and slow. Once more forward, and then we're going to bring that knee out to the side. Rotate it around. Doesn't have to be so high. You can take it high if you're feeling like that's the way today. And let's open that whole right side. Good. And bring it all the way back. Standing on that left foot. Find your balance. Bring it all the way back around. And to your center. I'm going to leave that one there. Okay. So bringing those feet a little bit wider. Finding those lovely figures of 8. Just a little move around the feet. So seeing how quickly the brain asks the pelvis to take over, rather than finding that movement, inside edge to outside edge, all the way around, outside edge, inside edge. So if you keep your awareness at your feet, the pelvis sort of doesn't get so involved. Good. And so if you can slide those feet around and back the other way. So that's always more of a challenge. We all have one way which we just automatically head off into. Good. Easing through the lower back and the legs. Giving the feet a nice little massage around the floor. Let's bring that back to center. Now, if you haven't got a brick or a book, sort of brick size, if you've got a chair maybe, and because if you know your hamstrings are going to be a little bit challenged, we're going to be lifting up and down. You might want to use the base of a chair, a seat of a chair, or your brick. So most of you have done this before. It's not anything unusual. Let's take, I'm not doing anything unusual while we're on Zoom. Let's take the block just in front of the feet. And we're going to step the, I'm going to do it with you so that I don't get confused on my left and right. So we're going to take left leg back. I'll do it from the sides and I'll turn so you can see. Okay, so let's straighten both legs. We're going to take a nice warrior one flow, but with a back open and heart opener two. So arms to the sky, inhale. We're going to exhale and sink the front knee and slide the arms to cactus. So cactus is elbows out to the side. So we're relaxing. You feel the shoulders softening as we do that. We're going to take a breath there. Inhale. Now, as you exhale, keep the backs of the hands coming backwards so that it's really easy to let them sort of slide forwards. We want to keep them pushing gently backwards. And as you exhale, you come halfway. Check that front knee isn't collapsing in. Sort of halfway doesn't have to be kind of really halfway. You know, I'm slightly coming 45, sort of midway, really. Exhaling there. Okay, we're going to inhale and we're going to straighten the front leg and exhale, take the hands to the block chair, whatever you've got, and fold. Now, if you've got loads of movement, obviously fingertips can come to the floor, but it's quite restful to bring the hands to something. Let the head and neck soften. Now here we want to gently draw that right hip slightly back. Get that sense with inside the right hip that it's slightly drawing back. Lovely. We're going to soften the front knee, curl yourself up. Inhale, arms all the way up, front leg straightens. Now, if you're losing your balance, you want to take the legs a little bit wider apart so that you're not on a tightrope, okay? Inhale, slide the arms up. Exhale, cactus arms, bent front knee, lift the chest, open. Inhale here, yeah, we're going to lift, push the backs of the hands away and lift the heart. So now we start to find that little back bend and chest opener. Exhale, let's come halfway down, bent front knee still. Inhale here. Exhale, straighten the front leg, hands down. Take a pause. So think about doing, when we do the lift in the heart and a little back bend, think about cobra back. So this is just a few cobras while we're standing. Okay, uncurl, inhale, all the way back. We're going to do one more on this side. Straighten the front leg, arms up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, sink the front knee, hands to cactus. Inhale, push the backs of the hands away and lift the heart. Shoulder blades slightly sliding in towards each other. Exhale, keep that chest lifted as you come forward. Keep the hands pushing up and back. And exhale, straighten the front leg, fold it all the way down. Let's take a slightly longer pause here. Let the head and neck soften. Inhaling, exhaling there. Draw that right hip gently backwards. Inhaling. And on the next exhale, let's uncurl. All the way up to standing. Roll the shoulders back. We don't have to take the arms up this time because we're switching sides. So step it forward and step it back. So we're only stepping it as far back so the right heel can stay on the floor, okay? That you want that back heel. So I've got like maybe 2 foot between my legs. You can take it to 1 foot if that feels better. 1.5. It doesn't have to be a big old step at all. Inhale, straight front leg, arms rise, open the armpits. Exhale, elbows out to cactus, bend the front knee, lift the crown of the head. Inhale, lift the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Keep the backs of the hands gently pressing backwards. Exhale, fold it halfway. Inhale here, expand through the chest, and exhale, straighten the front leg, hands come down to your block. Crown of the head drops. Draw that left hip slightly back. Uncurl. We're going to do it twice more. Open, arms up to sky. Straight front leg, inhale, rise. Exhale, sink, bend the front knee, cactus. Draw the crown of the head. Make sure the tailbone isn't kicking out and away from you. Just being aware of that. So gently squeezing the shoulder blades, back to the hands, come backwards. Inhale there. Now let's exhale halfway. Use the feet to balance you. Really push down through the feet. Find that awareness at the foot. And on the next exhale, let's straighten the front leg and fold yourself all the way down. We've got one more to do where we're going to hang out a little bit longer down here. So gently draw that left hip back as you uncurl so that you've got the weight going down through the feet. Arms rise. Inhale. Stretch it up. Crown of the head rises. Open out through the belly. You feel a kind of spreading expansion through the belly, all the way out from the belly button. Exhale, sink that front knee, elbows bend, back to the hands back. Good. Squeeze the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the heart. Inhale there. Exhale, keep that lift, but lengthen forward halfway. Last round. Inhale here. And exhale, let's fold it down. Draw that left hip gently back. Very gently, so you get this sense of broadening around the back of the pelvis. You've probably worked that one out by now. Good. And then let's get yourself ready to uncurl. So pushing down through the feet, release the block, uncurl yourself all the way back, up to standing, step it forward. Let's move the brick out the way. Good, and we're going to step the legs just wider than the hips. Okay, lovely. So we're just going to take a little movement side to side. And as you do that, you're going to bend one knee and straighten the other. Just being aware of how the knees are working. A little bit of movement. Lean yourself forward, hands on the thighs, picking up a heel or a toe as you go. Just exploring the movement around the feet and the legs. Good. We're going to bring yourself into a squat. So if you know a squat malasana is not for you, please just come down onto your bottom. If you want to put some cushions or blocks, if you've got them underneath the heels, that's great. Okay. Okay, so those of you who know you can come to a squat, widen the legs, keep the spine long if you can. So just keep trying to lift the chest as you bring yourself down. Try to avoid the rounding. Try and lift the chest. If you can use the upper arm then in between the thighs. If you're up on your toes, that's fine, just as long as you've got some support perhaps. So you can even quickly roll the back of your mat up if you haven't got anything else to put underneath the heels. That works. Now, if you're in your squat, just see for a moment if you can lift and open that upper back. Lengthen the back of the neck. Just making sure that you're not rounding. You want to open. Good. And then everyone's gonna plop down onto your bottom. So see if you can, with great care, keep those knees apart and pop yourself down. Yay. Well done. Onto your bottom, lift your feet off the floor. Let's take a little balance there. Lift the chest, knees in, boat pose, Navasana. So the knees are lifted, feet are off the floor. If you feel strong, lift the lower leg. So you're in 90 degrees with the knee and the ankle, sort of, straight line perhaps, with the hip. Good. If you want to lift the arms, do so. If you want to bring the arms alongside those lower legs, do so. Good. Pop the feet down to the floor. We're going to straighten the right leg out and take the left leg over the top. Sorry, I'm going to mirror you. Right leg out, left leg over the top. Good. Left hand comes behind you. So half spinal twist. Now, I'm going to suggest we avoid putting the right elbow in front of the knee. I'm going to suggest we wrap the knee. Let the hips travel, but first we want to open that left chest. So if we open the left chest, the head and the neck will follow. And then just allow a softness through the belly and the pelvis.
so that we're not rigid in keeping it in one place, but we're moving from the upper spine. So we've got the rotation is in the upper spine, not the lower spine. Good. Great. Seeing what the breath's like there. A little bit of, as you've got a little bit of tension through the belly because you've kind of twisted it, makes it a little harder to breathe through the rib cage. So it's a good place to start expanding the breath here. Checking in with your Ujjayi breath if you're comfortable with that. Remember, it's the fogging up of the mirror and then drawing the fog back in. Okay, let's turn and keep the legs as they are, but turn the body around to the other side and take a little curl down there. It doesn't have to be a big one. And bring yourself back to center. Okay, let's undo the legs, back to boat pose. Lift their chest, lift the knees. If you want to lift the lower leg, lift the lower leg. If you're feeling super strong, want to stretch the legs out, stretch the legs out. Good. Pop them back down. We're going to take it the other way. So the left leg now goes out and the right leg goes over the top. Take the right hand behind you, but keep that left elbow just hooked around the front of the knee. We don't need, and I'm going to suggest we start trying to avoid just sort of pulling it across and opening too much in the lower back. So let's just start working with the upper back. We open the right shoulder and let the head follow. And we're just kind of resting the elbow, that left elbow on the right knee. Something we can work with is, oh, sorry, am I on the wrong side again? Remember which side you were on. I think maybe it's the other way now. So it's because I'm mirroring you. I'm finding it really hard. Okay, so we are, yeah, no, actually I've got my left leg over the top, haven't I? Okay, so we're doing it this way, and yeah, just allow the chest to open. There's always going to be a moment when I get it the wrong way around, so just, you know what you're doing. Probably better than I do right now. Okay, bring it all the way around. That's it. I think I was right the first time. Dip it round. And back to center. That is the real difference about being on Zoom, is that when I'm with you, I can take all the clues from what you're doing. That's how I work. When I'm by myself, it's a little harder. So bring yourself back. Bring your bottom down to the floor. We're going to take some movement around the floor. So if you've got a blanket or a strap, we're going to put the foot into something. You don't have to have anything. You can use a jumper, sock, but you can also use your hands. So I do have a strap, so I will use my strap. We're going to just do a little pelvis work and see how that goes. So roll the spine all the way down. Let's take the arms out to the sides. Give the hips a gentle wiggle. Make sure the lower back feels comfortable on the floor. And we're going to take the right foot into a strap or just stretch it up to the sky and you can hold it. So whichever is best and is working for you today. Straighten the arms up the strap and drop the shoulders. Let's let the elbows soften. So I quite like the strap around just below my toes. The pad of my foot. There have been other times I've suggested having it right at the back of the heel so that you've got more awareness of what that heel's doing. But obviously, you know, midfoot's okay too. I just like kind of placing it somewhere. Okay, so strap is in both hands. Split the strap out so that one shoulder is not higher than the other. And we're gently going to rotate the toes towards the right shoulder. And then the toes towards the left shoulder. So you could also say that that heel is going opposite shoulders. And then bring that back to center. Lengthen the heel up to the sky, turn the toes towards the face, and then point the toe up to the sky. Point, 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 and back down. So really lengthening out, and then point the toe up to the sky. And back to center, take the strap in the right hand. Bring the left knee into the palm of the left hand. So the left knee is bent, right leg stays straight. We're going to open the legs. Now, as you do this, I'd like you to be really aware of the lower back and the width between the legs. So if you notice, if one leg goes lower than the other, so the left knee stays bent with the palm of the hand on top, if you notice that one leg has gone lower than the other, you'll notice that the back of the pelvis is also uneven. So I want you to take your awareness to the back, if you would, and just make sure you can find those little dimples at the back of the pelvis, and they're both got even pressure on them, so that you know that one leg has not opened more than the other. If it has, draw the legs back together and start again. So soften that right shoulder that's holding the strap. Make sure it's not lifting up by the ear. Good. Lengthen. Let's lengthen that right heel away from you. Turn the toes back in towards the face. A little rotation inwards or with the toes and perhaps a little bit outwards with the heel. And then soften and bring the knees back together. Pop the left foot on the floor. Bring that right heel on top of the left knee. Good, let go of the strap. Okay, if you feel comfortable in bringing that left knee in and holding behind the back of the left leg, please do so. So gently drawing your breath here. So softening into the pelvis again. If you notice again that that right knee is tipping down to the floor, it'll mean the back is not stable. The back is not flat on the floor. So be really aware again of that. Or if that left knee is dipping across to the right side, then the left side of the pelvis will have come off the floor. So you want to keep it all a little bit stable. So it doesn't have to come in too far to find that rotation in the hip and a little something in the back of that right thigh. Let's pop the left foot down to the floor. Undo. Stretch out that right leg. Give it a wiggle. And pop it back on the floor. So left leg. So I'm going to be going over just a few minutes. We did start a few minutes into our time. And so I've managed to fit in everything I wanted to fit in. Let's just gently rotate the leg side to side. Open the back of the knee. Think about the knee as a lighthouse flashing its light side to side. So if you need to drop off at 9:30, please feel free, head off. And thank you very much for joining. But otherwise, if you can hang on for another 4 minutes after so it's sort of just before 9:35, we'll finish. Okay, bring it back to center. Good. Toes to the sky and toes to the face. So soften through the shoulders, let the elbows release. Shoulders release. Good. Okay, turn the toes towards the face, lift the heel towards the sky, and then take the strap in the left hand and bring the right knee in. Open the legs. So you've got this equidistant space between the thighs here. You can always pick the head up and have a quick look. Soften the lower back. Good. Notice any unevenness in the pelvis, lower back. Great. Let's bring the legs together. Take that right foot down. Rotate through the left hip and bring the outside edge of that left foot onto the right knee. So these are your reverse pigeons. Let's take the right knee in. You can hold on. Please take your own variation of this pose so that you know you're doing it right for you. Any pain in the knee or the hip, make an adjustment or ask me. We can run through it. Good. Breathing into that and then pop the right foot when you're ready. If you want to take it a second longer, please do. Right foot goes down. Left leg releases. Lose the strap. We're going to take a Shavasana, but we're going to take a little bit of breath work first. So let's stay here on your back. Let the pelvis move a little bit. Let the shoulders move around a little bit. You take the arms down alongside you. Let the back of the head rest on the floor. So if you know it's a little uncomfortable, make sure that you've got a cushion or an extra blanket behind the back of the head. feet are planted, and inhale. Let's lift the fingertips up to the sky, all the way up, and exhale them behind the head. Open out through the rib cage as you do that. Lovely. And then inhale them back up to the sky. Just fingertips to the sky, long breath, and exhale all the way down alongside you. Feel the movement through the whole body. Good. So we're going to take that again, but I'm going to count it for different length of breath, just a few times. So we're going to inhale for 4 and take the arms over the head all the way to the floor. So we're going to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Fingertips behind the head. Going to exhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Fingertips alongside the hips. We're going to inhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Fingertips behind the head. And this time we're going to extend the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fingertips down. Inhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. If you want to stretch the legs out, or you're quite happy with the knees bent, or you'd really like to just come to a seated position for a few moments while we take a gentle Shavasana for 2 minutes. Making sure wherever you're going to be really comfortable and settled. Take your awareness back to that breath. That nice long inhale and exhale. Just bringing your awareness to your body as it settles here, whether seated or lying on the floor. That's being aware of the volume of the body, the contours of the body. Just being aware of the flow of the breath without needing to change it. Gentle expansion and gentle contracting, condensing back towards the core of the body. We're going to take the next inhalation down to the tailbone, the real tip of the tailbone at the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. As you exhale, allow that to float through the body and out of the crown of the head. And then the next inhale, take it down to the sacral chakra, so in the lower part of the pelvis, Svadhisthana. And take that exhale, let it float through the body and out of the crown of the head. And then the next inhale, to the point just below the rib cage, the solar plexus area, Manipura chakra. And let that exhale and float around the body and out to the crown of the head. Taking the next inhale into the upper chest at the Anahata, the heart area, expanding through the upper chest. And on the exhale, just let that drift out and up
through the crown of the head. And the next inhale into the throat, the Vishuddha chakra. And again, exhale, let that softly release and send it out through the crown of the head. And the next inhale to the point between the eyebrows, the third eye chakra, the Ajna chakra. And again, softly releasing that breath, letting the whole face feels like it's floating, melting, expanding. And then into the breath into the middle of the skull, midbrain, expanding. And exhaling, softly releasing again, exhaling out to the crown of the head. And let the normal breath return.